verse 749. By distinctly understanding it, there is emancipation and insight into the truth, and purification from the passions which are abandoned by means of contemplation and insight. So by distinctly understanding it, the translator says, namely the doctrine, and by distinctly understanding this doctrine, there is emancipation and insight into the truth. In the previous verse, we are told what the doctrine is which is not approved by the Buddhas. And this doctrine which is not approved by the Buddhas is to do with the confusion between thought and awareness. Confusing thought with awareness. Previous verses have been at pains to denounce the theorizers. And these are ones who have ideas about the truth. And it doesn't matter whether these ideas are correct or not. All ideas about the truth are limitation. We need to see for ourselves. So we could say the doctrine of the Buddhas is about seeing the nature of awareness for ourselves. And this has nothing to do with thought. It has nothing to do with ideas. I think I might have mentioned this recently, but a while back I wrote a review on Amazon. There's actually a little book about the Sagatakam which I bought, and I felt it was something of a waste of money, and I wrote quite a detailed review of it on Amazon. And a couple of years later I got a reply from the author, and the reply was quite good. He addressed all the points that I made, and he offered me some free copies of his most recent books. And I really didn't know what to say. I felt there was probably enough in his reply and my initial comments to give people a good idea of whether they wanted to buy his book or not. But it seems to me that he'd used the Sagatakam as a springboard for developing his own ideas, his own thoughts. And he's clearly a very, very, very clever person, very intelligent person. And he's inspired by the Sagatakam. He's been inspired to go and develop his own ideas, which I'm sure are quite fascinating, although I doubt whether I'll be able to understand them. I don't really want to spend time struggling with his books, even though I'm sure they'll be very, very fascinating. So I'm not quite sure how to reply to him, but this is the point. I mean, this is how I see it. He's somebody who's quite a brilliant mind, who's inspired by what he sees as the content of the Sagatakam, to develop ideas further and even to see connections with mathematics. But for me, this is missing the point dramatically. The whole point of the Sagatakam is to point us to fundamental awareness and to appreciate the nature of this fundamental awareness as cosmic, as the Tathagata Garbha, the womb of the Tathagata. It's what holds everything. It's what gives rise to everything. The Sagatakam is pointing us to this realization. We mustn't get caught up in these words. We mustn't get caught up in ideas that it generates. We need to understand all words in a text like the Sagatakam, like the Lankavatara Sutra, as pointers to our very own intimate awareness. This is the doctrine of the Buddhas. This is what brings emancipation and insight into the truth. It isn't me that becomes emancipation, it's consciousness that becomes emancipated. When we have insight into the truth, we've gone beyond the mind, we've gone beyond ideas, no matter how profound, we've gone beyond theories. We've gone beyond passions, and the passions are identification with our ideas and our beliefs. These are the passions. The passions aren't just base lust and all the rest of it, and to do with sensual pleasures, not at all. The passions are a passion for understanding, for belief. Passions which I think this author is caught up in. I hope I'm wrong in this, but it just seems to me that that's the way it is. I'd be quite happy to be wrong in this. So we abandon the passions. We abandon the passions of the mind, of the intellect. It goes without saying as well, of course, we've also gone beyond our moods, our sensibilities. We've gone beyond all these, because we've touched pure awareness once again. By means of contemplation and insight. And that's what we're doing in this channel, in these verses. Contemplation and insight. We take each verse as it comes. The content of the verse, what the verse is saying, isn't immediately obvious. So we practice. We stop. We come back to the immediate moment, the immediate experiencing. And we look in our immediate experiencing for what this verse is pointing to. This is a contemplation. And when we do this, the meaning unfolds. What the verse is pointing to becomes clear. It becomes distinct. There is distinct understanding. And this is insight.